I won't go to her. Have you seen how she looks? The king protested. But the bride isn't so bad. The angle was wrong. The courtiers are thrilled with her. Just take a closer look, his advisors coaxed. Casimir the Great is often credited with transforming Poland from a wooden kingdom into a stone one. He was called the King of Peasants, a skilled diplomat, and a just ruler. But was this really the case? His personal life was marked by chaos and controversy. Early in his reign, Casimir managed to retain the territories conquered by his father, but abandoned claims to Pomerania and Silesia. He also faced criticism for weak dynastic policies as he left the throne to his nephew, Louis of Hungary, which risked Poland's independence. He ignored the Masovian branch of the Piast dynasty, a logical choice for an heir. Casimir's personal life also left behind many unresolved disputes. Contrary to the expectations of a head of state, he was far from a paragon of morality, honor, or fidelity. This was most evident in the lives of his 4 wives, each of whom endured hardships in their marriages to the king. The king was notoriously amorous. His passions flared intensely but burned out quickly. Detractors even joked that he built so many castles in Poland because he couldn't tolerate living under the same roof with his numerous women. Fidelity in marriage was an abstract concept for Casimir, and all his wives experienced this firsthand. Casimir's first wife was Aldona of Lithuania, although the position was initially meant for Bona Luxembourg, a Bohemian princess. Bona's betrothal to Casimir occurred when she was just 5 years old, but plans fell apart and she was eventually married to King John II of France. Seeking a new alliance, Ladislav I Lukitek, Casimir's father, turned to Lithuania, hoping for support against the Teutonic Order. At the time, relations with Lithuania were far from ideal. The Lithuanians frequently raided Masovia, taking its inhabitants as captives. However, diplomacy and a shared threat from the Teutonic Knights made an alliance possible. Lithuanian Prince Gediminas eagerly agreed to the marriage of his daughter Aldona to Casimir, sending her to Poland with a lavish dowry: 24,000 Polish captives. Aldona was 15 years old, and Casimir was 23 when she arrived in Krakow to be instructed in the Christian faith under the supervision of Bishop Nanker. Like her people, Aldona was a pagan. She was baptized in April of 1325, taking the name Anna. That autumn, the wedding took place. It is said that Casimir had to be practically dragged to the altar. However, sources do not mention any flaws in Aldona's appearance, nor do they praise her beauty. Most likely she was a pleasant-looking young woman, and Casimir's reluctance stemmed not from her appearance, but from resistance to a marriage arranged for political reasons. The young princess was cheerful, loved dancing, music, and horseback riding. However, this irked her mother-in-law, Queen Elizabeth, who believed a future queen should behave with greater restraint and take an interest in politics. Casimir, as it later became clear, saw women as serving entirely different purposes, and he had little use for politically ambitious wives. Anna bore Casimir 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Kunigunda, but there was no male heir to the throne. The relationship between the couple remained cordial, although the king likely began cheating on his wife even during their marriage. These affairs, however, were spoken of only in whispers. Anna died under unknown circumstances in 1339. It was said that she left this world under a terrible fate. Casimir began searching for a new wife. The position was to be filled by Margaret of Bohemia, but she declined the proposal, citing that Casimir had been married to a pagan. In reality, the reason was likely the king's reputation as a philanderer. After Margaret's refusal, the king sought another candidate. He chose Adelaide of Hesse, the daughter of Henry II, Landgrave of Hesse. Despite her modest dowry, just 2,000 Prague groschen, the political alliance was advantageous. 19-year-old Adelaide was described as a woman whose virtues lay more in her character than her appearance. This proved to be her misfortune, as Casimir was interested only in beautiful women. Initially, the marriage seemed successful. The king lavished Adelaide with gifts, and chroniclers claimed that, for a time, he was even faithful to her. However, his natural inclination toward debauchery soon resurfaced. Adelaide patiently endured his infidelities, But when Casimir decided to rid himself of her, she was sent to a castle in Arnowiec, where she lived in complete isolation for 15 years. During this time, Casimir found a new mistress, a Polish noblewoman with the unusual name of Sudka, who bore him 3 sons. After her husband's death, the king ended his relationship with Sudka, generously rewarding her and her children. Adelaide, however, refused to accept her fate. She appealed to Pope Clement VI, seeking justice. The Pope demanded that Casimir cease his immoral behavior and return to his wife. However, the king ignored these orders, and the next Pope, Innocent VI, sided with Casimir, urging Adelaide to show humility. Despite her continued efforts to reclaim her rights, Adelaide was unsuccessful. While Adelaide sought justice, Casimir encountered a new love in Prague, a beautiful widow named Kristina Rokicsana. She agreed to marry him on the condition of a formal wedding. This was a violation of church law, as Adelaide was still alive. Nevertheless, Casimir proceeded with the marriage. Their union, however, ended abruptly. One day, Casimir was informed that Kristina was bald and suffering from scabies. Upon confirming the truth of these claims, he quickly abandoned her. Afterward, Casimir married the young Hedwig of Zagen. Their marriage proved relatively successful. The king ceased his philandering, which could be attributed either to his advancing age or Hedwig's ability to manage their relationship. However, even this union failed to produce the desired male heir. Hedwig bore him 3 daughters but no sons. Casimir continued to hope that he might leave the throne to his own offspring, but his dream never came true. The king died in 1370 from injuries sustained during a hunting accident. His death marked the end of the Pius dynasty on the Polish throne.